Welcome everyone to the MMOs.com podcast. Episode 145 here today, and we have a special episode because Omar and I are separated from a vast distance, brought together only by the power of the internet. I am in Istanbul. Omar is still in Vegas. Omar, you want to tell everyone why you're still in Vegas? I think it's a good story to start with.
It's a bit of a story. It's actually rather unfortunate. So I was going to go with my brother to Turkey for about a month to chill out over there for a bit. Bought my ticket and everything. But on the day before we were going, I was going to do my online check-in. And I get my passport, type my passport number to check in, and then I look at my passport and I see, holy shit, my passport expired in March of 2018. So my passport expired like 2 weeks before my flight to Turkey. And because my flight was literally the next day, I had no chance to even get like an emergency renewal, which you can actually do if you have like 3-4 days in advance. But no, I missed my flight to Turkey, so I'm here in Las Vegas. I ended up burning a ticket there. So a round trip ticket for about $1,000 is burnt. Can't get my money back either.
That's a lot of bits.
That's unfortunate. It's a lot of bits. It's a lot of bits, boys. Feels bad, man, indeed. Yeah. But I'm in Vegas. Altay is in Turkey. So there was one positive thing that came of it. I was able to play in the BullyHunters Pro League while having lower ping. It was an open tournament, and me and a couple of friends entered. That was like over the last 4 or 5 days or so. And while we didn't win, I did play with lower ping. That's actually a bit of a story too. It was basically an open qualifier. Anyone can enter. I think there was only like 15 teams per day competed. The top 2 teams qualified. If you qualify, you win $500. So we got our ass kicked every single day. You know, surprisingly, on the last day, we ended up playing a team of one grand champion and 2 champion players who were just materially higher ranked than we are. The highest rank I achieved in BullyHunters was like Diamond 3. So we actually went 4 wins, and they had 5 wins, and they beat us. But we were actually really close to winning that game, and it felt really good playing against this team that was like much, much better than we were. And we really held our own. That was kind of fun. And I was able to do that with low ping. But still, rip my $1,000.
Well, just think of it as your entry fee to that free tournament.
There you go. That was my $1,000 entry fee, and I could have won $500 if all went well.
Okay, I got half your money back, but you couldn't do
Qualifying, yeah.
All right.
Somebody said 1K, that's like a Soul Worker cosmetic. Yeah, there's a bit of a drama about Soul Worker cosmetics. The thing, it's really weird. Some games charge a lot of money for skins. I know Soul Worker was very expensive, like up to $40 for skin. I know Blade and Soul was very expensive. I actually almost bought one in Blade and Soul, but I'm like, fuck it, cost too much money. You know, prices are too high. If they were like 1/5 the price, I probably would have bought it, but I can't justify spending like $30 on a skin. It's too much for me.
Can we talk about how expensive skins are in Fortnite? $25.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Actually, it's actually amazing how much money Fortnite makes without having loot boxes. You know, loot box got a lot of controversy over the last like year or two, and here comes Fortnite with no loot boxes, selling skins directly to players. They make over $100 million a month. You know, they're killing it without loot boxes.
Yep.
So you don't need loot boxes to make tons of money. But then again, how much money would Fortnite be making if they had loot boxes? Think of it that way.
Oh, Canaris, thank you for that sub. Tier 1 sub, 6 months in a row. Grazie. That's for $995 left to go.
Thanks, Canaris. It does ease the pain a little bit.
You know how?
Wait, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know how some streams have the donation goal and it starts at 0.
Yeah.
We need a donation goal that starts at -1,000 and goes to 0.
To go back to even on that ticket I burned.
Yeah, I'm just
Feels
kidding,
bad, man.
Yeah. All right, so I had a different weekly raid lined up, but this one was more pressing because we just got the official announcement finally that MapleStory 2 is coming to the West. Omar, you called this over a month ago, I believe.
Yep.
So tell us the story of how you, I guess, realized this announcement was coming, and then we can go over the actual announcement.
There was a few things leading up to this announcement which made it actually clear to me this was happening. It came mostly towards the end of 2017. In the most recent Nexon earnings call, the CEO answered a question from an analyst. An analyst asked the CEO of Nexon, like, what's going on with MapleStory 2 in China? Because the game had just went into open beta there, and they were trying to gauge if the game was doing well or not. And Nexon CEO responded saying, "Oh, the game is doing well. We had a much better start than we did in South Korea, and they were really excited to be launching MapleStory 2 globally." So he answered a question about the Chinese launch of MapleStory 2 by saying that they're excited to be bringing the game to a global audience. That was the first time they actually hinted that, okay, MapleStory 2 is coming globally. And it was a response about China too, so it was actually kind of an odd answer because he hinted that it's going elsewhere as well. And after that, just most recently, when MapleStory Fest was first announced, I think like 2 weeks ago, they said there would be a special announcement for MapleStory. They didn't say MapleStory 2. There would be a special big announcement coming. And right around when they made the MapleStory Fest announcement, By the way, it was the first MapleStory Fest ever. It was a convention for MapleStory, but the first one. Right around that time, they actually put a job posting for like a localization coordinator as well. So these and a gameplay tester for a new game. So all these things were kind of lining up right around the same time, and this had to be it. Like, why would they make a MapleStory convention for the first time ever and not announce their signature games like sequel, MapleStory 2? So the stars aligned, and I called it. They did make the announcement with MapleStory Fest, and it's the MapleStory 2 is finally coming to the West. And the beautiful part about this is it's not like they announced it and it's gonna be coming a year later. The closed beta begins next month, early May, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's coming soon. Sadly, okay, so it's closed beta is coming May. When do you think the actual open beta is coming? Probably June, July?
I say later that year. Hopefully they don't make us wait too long. Late summer or early fall, probably.
I think they should do early summer because when the kids are out of school, I think that's a perfect time.
Good point.
Yeah.
Makes also, a lot of sense.
I was surprised to hear that this is the first MapleStory Fest. There are so many smaller games actually that have annual fests or conventions for years now. And MapleStory, guys, is huge. It was one of the biggest earning MMORPGs for like a decade, right?
It's still on our list of highest grossing games. Every year we try to update our list of the highest grossing MMORPGs and MMOs on PC. MapleStory is always on that list. They make, I think, over $100 million a year. So they're still making tons of money.
Yeah, MapleStory is one of those games, guys, that I think it surprises a lot of people, especially here in America or Europe, how big it is. I remember in high school when we used to play it a lot. A lot of people we showed it to were like, "Are you kidding? Like, are you for real? Are you playing this?" And then they would try it for like an hour, and they'd be like, "Okay, you're right. This is amazing." It was one of those games, a sleeper hit, at least in the West. And I think, I think Nexon could do a lot more with MapleStory, the franchise. I think the characters, the world is just beautiful. Like, I would go to like a MapleStory cafe. They should have a whole plushie line and all that stuff.
You can look at the official trailer in the background, and somebody asked, "What's so special about MapleStory 2?" And I actually really want to emphasize that of all the MMORPGs I've played over the years and all the new game announcements, MapleStory 2 is actually doing a lot different, like a lot different from your traditional MMORPG. It's not just another WoW clone. And so many games we see, like Bless, for example, another game people are really hyped about, and Air, Infinite Realm. I mean, these games look interesting, and I like Bless for its challenge. But I can already tell you very clear that Bless isn't going to really be changing up the formula at all, really. It's the same thing we've seen over the years. The actually combat is going to be kind of cool. The difficulty can be interesting. But there's nothing new really coming with that formula. With MapleStory 2, they actually emphasize a lot of interesting creative elements in the game, where user-created content plays a pretty important role. And I played the Korean version. There's a lot of ways, beyond the core gameplay loop, which is killing monsters and leveling up, you could play mini games, which are just a side thing. It can be kind of fun to do with your friends. The player housing is persistent, and the way you can customize your house is actually quite amazing. Think almost like Animal Crossing style, collect shit tons of items, and build an amazing house with almost limitless control of what you can do with your player housing. And if you look at MapleStory 2 videos online, you'll find like some crazy compilation of what people have created. And beyond that, actually, what I like a lot is cosmetics in the game can be created by other players and be imported into the game. And actually, there's a Stepara video of that I want to show you on the Korean version, where they basically the Stepara created a Miku skin in the cosmetic in the game, some shirt and pants and shoes, and then you can sell it in the auction house in the game.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And that's actually astounding to me. It's such like a simple thing in principle, but to allow players to create items and just import it into the game. The only other game that did that was like Second Life, and that was unintuitive, crappy UI. And to do that in a game like MapleStory 2, on top of all the other social elements they have, and the gameplay. Look, the gameplay is there too. But a lot of hardcore MapleStory fans, maybe it's 3D, it's not side scrolling, it's a different experience. But combining all these social elements and player created content into the game is actually really unique. Like, what other game is there that you can import your own designs into the game for cosmetics? Like, it's amazing. And what makes MMORPGs great, in my opinion, is not just the core gameplay. You want to have a good core gameplay, but you want to have all the stuff around it as well, like stuff you can do with your friends outside of raiding, outside of grinding. It could be PvP, it could be pet battling, it could be minion collecting, it could be doing like crafting, it could be a lot of other things. It's just really cool that they're emphasizing player created content, and that's something we haven't seen in too many MMORPGs. And I think MapleStory 2 is doing a really good job with that. And just playing MapleStory 2 in the Korean version, just running around looking at people's houses, their costumes, it's really amazing. What the game has done. And I think that'll resonate really well with Western audiences.
Yeah, I think it's going to do better in the West than it did in Korea, because I think there's two conspiring forces. One, nostalgia, the name MapleStory, right? People like us will go back for that, our generation. And a lot of younger kids in America actually grew up playing games like Minecraft, where they're used to this style of graphics, and not just the graphics, but they're used to this style of customization, like you said, with the clothes, with the mounts, with the houses, with the crafting and stuff. And to those young people, like, imagine you're like 14 today or something, right? You grew up playing MapleStory or Roblox. When you see crafting in WoW or crafting in Final Fantasy 14, it's a joke, right? You gotta just go like this, and then you craft.
You hammer something.
Yeah. Like, that's not crafting. Like, that's not a world. That's not like that's not social to them, because to them they're used to just building their own shit. You know, they're used to their own like very modular world, and this game does that. So I think it's going to grab both older people that like MapleStory the name, and they're just going to have younger people who grew up with more customizable games like Roblox.
I look at the other video I linked for you. It shows you how some of it works. Oddly enough, when I was watching the live stream, by the way, it was actually really fun to watch the MapleStory Fest being live streamed on Twitch, because everyone was hyped for MapleStory 2. The chat was fun. People recognized my name too, so I was talking to a few people about MapleStory on there. And when they revealed how the customized clothing is going to work, because I knew about it in the Korean version, but they actually said the official like program to make customized clothing is going to be MS Paint, which it's kind of bizarre to me, because I'm like, wait, MS Paint? What? Like, it didn't make any sense, but they actually said MS Paint is the official tool to create clothing in MapleStory 2. I think in this video you'll see them use MS Paint as well, but people can use Photoshop as well too.
The new one or the old one? Because I know Windows 10 is trying to push this new MS Paint.
Maybe.
We'll see. I guess I'll see. It looks like the old one, actually.
Yeah. But it's remarkable to me how other MMORPGs aren't really like stressing this kind of content. Like this kind of like game design makes MMORPGs, I think, magical, right? I don't think you can really, like, you can have fun gameplay, but I've said this for a long time. I've had discussions with friends who love PvP and WoW, who like raiding in like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14. I think what makes World of Warcraft a great game, what makes Final Fantasy 14 a great game, isn't the mechanics of combat, because I don't think the mechanics of combat are particularly good, whether you're raiding or not. And I don't think the story is particularly good in either WoW or Final Fantasy 14 either, or even the PvP. Arguably, WoW is the best PvP of any MMORPG, but I don't think the PvP in World of Warcraft even comes close to the depth of a game like Battle Right or even League of Legends. Because if you want a PvP, there are games dedicated to that PvP environment without all the baggage of MMORPG like attached to it, right? But what makes WoW and Final Fantasy 14 great is the whole package. And I think what makes MMORPGs in general great is this whole package. And a lot of games haven't been focusing on that package as much. And at least with MapleStory 2, they're doing the package includes the core gameplay loop. It includes player housing. It includes mini games. It includes player created content. And I think that's awesome. The emotes in the game are really silly and fun too. And look, it's weird to see a 28-year-old man being hyped for MapleStory 2, but I am actually really excited to play MapleStory 2. Like, I tried playing the Korean version. It was kind of rough because the English patch was really bad, and it would actually bug out the game, and you couldn't complete certain quests. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll wait till the English version. But I really liked what I played in the Korean version too. And I'm confident it's going to do well.
And I think it's a good test of like if our predictive powers mean anything after all these years of experience. So when I see this, right, and I see the name MapleStory and this kind of concept, I think it will do well. And I'm more hopeful on this than I was on many 3D fantasy, generic launches of the past like 5 years. So this is a good test on whether my predictive powers or our predictive abilities are actually exist or not.
Look, this game has an infinitely better chance of hitting a slam dunk than a game like Closers or Soul Worker. Because the reality is, game like Closers and Soul Worker, look, Soul Worker is pretty fun, actually. Again, I played it for fun myself recently, but like that's a game that you can play for a while and not have fun, and then you're gonna quit. The depth isn't there. Like, we've seen that formula tried countless times. It can be fun for a while, but there's really nothing magical or different there. And you knew that everyone going into Closers or Soul Worker knew exactly what they're going to expect. They knew the gameplay. They knew the kind of gameplay you would get, the core action combat, and the linear stage-based progression. It's the same thing we've seen since the whole genre was popularized with like Dungeon Fighter Online. Like, since Dungeon Fighter Online, since Dragon Nest, those old school games like that, every other game that's followed that pattern has been basically the same thing with different skins and some minor combat differences. So there's so much more going on with MapleStory 2, which is why I'm optimistic about it. And just look at these mini games in the background. Some of the most fun I've had in Final Fantasy 14 with the randoms was doing random ass jump quests. You remember even MapleStory 1? The jump quests in MapleStory 1 were actually really fun. It was just one thing you could do in the game out of countless other things, outside the core gameplay loop. I would actually get my friends to download MapleStory and level with me just so I can do the jump quest with them and see like who would finish it first. Get a couple buddies who never played the game. We all get like level 30 or so, and then That's enough to basically unlock most of the jump quests. And we just run through those. And it was a lot of fun. And I love that you can do that in the game. I want to log into an MMORPG and hang out. I want that to be my portal to hang out with people. And that's what a lot of people do in MMORPGs. Whether it's WoW or Final Fantasy or MapleStory or anything else, a lot of time you spend in a game is hanging out with friends. And a game can do that by adding stuff outside just the core grind or the typical just combat mechanics of the game.
I think even if you're not, here's a good test. Even if you're not max level, you should be able to log into a game and have fun all day without trying to progress your level. Like that's a good sign of a good, well-made game. It has to be some kind of horizontal things to do, not just vertical climb. But I think to be fair now, I think it's worth highlighting some of the aspects that might conspire against MapleStory 2. This is this is an over 3-year-old game now. Remember, it came out in Korea over 3 years ago, at least the betas. And quite frankly, it did not have the same success that MapleStory 1 had in Korea before MapleStory 1 came to America, right? So this is a lot more untested. It's already a very old game. 3 years, I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of time. Don't forget, a lot happens in 3 years. You know, just think how many times like the genre of choice, like the king genre, it has changed in the West over 3 years. You know, look at Fortnite. Before that, it was PUBG. Before that, it was League. You know, like or it was Overwatch. I should say. Overwatch was a hot new game. Then it was boom PUBG. Then it was boom Fortnite. So 3 years is a long time, especially now. Like so. Those are some factors against the game, and it might not be able to catch on. Because from what I remember, and remember, Omar and I played this game, but we played it on the Korean server, and the Korean server was very fidgety because we had to deal with these custom English patch files, which made the game buggy. So hopefully, since then, if the UI is easy to use, if it's easy to launch, easy to install, it'll do well. But 3 years means some of those things might not be as perfect as it should be.
And actually, the art style of the game, while it's not side-scrolling like MapleStory 1, look, I'm a fan of MapleStory 1. I've been playing the game on and off since basically this GMS basically launched, when Scania was literally the only server in the game. I love MapleStory. It's actually my favorite free-to-play MMORPGs out there. And it's a game, there's actually a burning event going on in MapleStory, I believe, later today. And I'll probably log in and make another character just for fun. And I love MapleStory, and while it's not the same exact game, I think the art style actually in MapleStory 2 and the aesthetic actually makes it pretty timeless. I don't like MapleStory even today. It looks fine because it's a side-scrolling 2D game. It doesn't look as bad as games like Shea or Last Chaos, which are kind of old now, but 3D. I think the cartoony visuals too for MapleStory 2 kind of lends itself to a long lifespan. Where in 10 years, if MapleStory 2 is still around, I don't think it'll look bad because the art style is actually this really sleek Minecrafty look, and the music is really cute too.
Yeah, I'm more worried about like imagine you kind of log out in the middle of nowhere and you come back like a week later. Is it going to be easy for you in MS2 to know what to do next? It's a big problem in a lot of MMORPGs, a lot of 3D MMORPGs especially, because in MapleStory, even if you got lost, if you die, you go back to town A, and B, you can go left, right, up, down. That's it. Like you're gonna find your way. You're gonna find something, right? You can't get lost too easily. In this game, if you're in the middle somewhere, I just want people to be able to find what they're doing. The UI should be easy. Hopefully, it is. We'll see.
Well, actually, on that note, it's actually worth mentioning because I know MapleStory 2 has some problems in that regards. I remember I played the Korean version by myself before. I went to a player house, and player housing in that game, you can actually have like portals in your house to other zones. So housing becomes a very gameplay useful thing too, besides just showing off and just showing off your possessions. You can have portals to other parts of the world. So I went to a player house, I walked through a random portal without thinking, and I ended up in like level 50 zone as like a level 10 character. And that was really bad because monsters would one-shot me. And I would have to find my way from the level 50 zone back to the newbie zone. And if you die in that zone, you go back to the nearest like spawn point. You don't show up back in the beginner zone. So that design feature was really bizarre. And this was years after the official Korean launch. And it persisted since I last played the game like a year ago. So there's some really bizarre things where a new player could end up in a really high level zone and have literally no way to go back unless he's patient enough to find the cab, and then which could be like 20 maps away, or just run 20 maps away to back to a newbie zone. So it's bizarre that they let that slide. So there's still like gameplay stuff they have to fix and make sure it doesn't screw over players.
Do you remember how long it took you to get back?
At least a couple of hours. It was actually really frustrating.
See, it
was really frustrating because I would die, and like you get like 5 maps in, and you die, you have to go back. And maybe there was a way to get there from the UI, but it could be me being retarded because it was in Korean and I couldn't navigate the UI. But I'm pretty sure there was because when you die, you just spawned in the high level zone again. It was really bizarre.
Now,
hopefully they fixed that too.
A few people in chat have talked about their good memories of stuff like that, and I have them too. In MapleStory, we got lost a lot, right? And I got lost in that 100 towers, the Toyland, trying to go to the bottom where there's like a space town. And I remember in Ragnarok Online, we got lost in this undead city, or world of undead, the underworld. It took us a couple hours to get out, I remember. Now, those are fun and cute stories for us, but the average gamer today who grew up, addicted to sugar and playing Fortnite or Robocraft or whatever, Roblox, he's not gonna get killed by level 50 mobs for 2 hours to get out. He's just gonna be like, F this, I'm going back to Fortnite. So they gotta work on those things.
Oh, definitely. I'm watching the video in the background, and I'm liking the cosmetics. I love the cosmetics in the game, and perhaps I'm kind of like a sucker for saying this. This might be an opinion everyone doesn't share, but stuff like the character, the appearance customization, the clothing customization means so much to me. It's arguably, people actually always say, in the Final Fantasy XIV live letters, one just happened recently. Like when they start talking about cosmetics, the chat always goes, "Okay, now for the true end game, the cosmetics, right? The glamour." That's what people care about, and it really is, I think, such an important part of a game. If you can weave like choice into the game like that, it makes the game so much more enjoyable. And I'm seeing like some pretty crazy hairstyle, and she's got like this like leaf in her mouth. It's pretty badass. I like it. I approve. Glamour is the end game, the mid game, and the early game. All right, we all want to look badass throughout the entire process. I'm hyped for MapleStory 2. Again, closed beta begins, I think, on May 9th. It's only gonna run for like a week or so, but hopefully open beta comes shortly afterwards because I am hyped and I want to play it.
Indeed. All right, I think that's enough on MS2. I do want you guys to potentially share your views. Are you hyped about this game? Are you unhyped? I'm actually especially interested in what if for you the 3-year lag period has affected your view on the game. So were you hyped and you lost it? Were you hyped and you're still hyped? Where you just didn't care and you still don't care? Whatever it is, I'm actually that's the part I'm most interested in. Because I really think this whole 3-year wait period is. I thought by 2018 this wouldn't happen anymore. Omar and I have been doing this for like 10 years, and back then it was very common for games that existed in Asia to either never come here or come here after like 5 years, like Blade and Soul did. That took 5 years, and I really thought that was behind us. But now with MapleStory 2 and Bless Online, don't forget Bless Online has been out in Korea for years now, and it's only coming here now. So this is still a trend we're dealing with, and I think it's a huge mistake these companies are doing.
Actually, what's pretty funny is I think a lot of people said they weren't hype years ago. I know one of my friends, for example, said that they weren't really excited for MapleStory 2. They didn't really like it because it's got this 3D look. And that same exact friend was I actually ended up seeing them in the live stream for MapleStory for the announcement, right? And they were hyped for MapleStory 2. And they later actually messaged me saying, "I am getting dizzy from this hype." So the same person that said they weren't excited for MapleStory 2 because it was 3D and it was different, it was blah, right? And now they're saying they're getting dizzy from the hype.
Maybe that's option D. Was not hyped, but the 3 years made me more hyped. Like
I'm looking at you, Remix My Life in the chat over there.
I feel like that would be a rare option, but I'm sure there are some people out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when the game is a little like closer to reality, is more tangible, the hype definitely gets a little bit higher, I'm glad I sold you on a Gesture Smiles. Again, look, I have no particular, I'm going to try the game because I'm hyped for it, but, if it doesn't pan out, I'm going to talk about my criticism. And obviously, I'll probably have things I don't like about it too, but I'm just mega excited to actually play it because it's like the first time in a long time we're getting a game that's not the same old shit. And it just, look, again, Bless is going to, I think Bless will be good. It'll be fun, but it's going to be, real talk, Bless and Air are both going to be this, are not going to be groundbreaking at all. They're not even trying to be groundbreaking.
Well, so, Air is literally groundbreaking because you're in the air.
It's
okay.
In the
calm
air.
down.
How clever. All right. Well, with that, I want to take us to another bit of a spicy discussion. Something which kind of surprised me actually. So, Final Fantasy XIV, that more people have been playing for a while, has did their most recent live letter from the producer. Basically, Yoshi P and some of the people of the Final Fantasy XIV team talk about what's coming to the game. They highlight some new stuff that's coming. And a new feature in the game actually got a lot of people pretty up in arms about potential pay to win. So I'm, as someone who doesn't play Final Fantasy 14, maybe curious where you stand on this issue. So they're releasing patch 4.3 later in May, and with that will come a companion app to Final Fantasy 14, a mobile app.
I actually heard about this.
This is where the controversy lies. So if you look at the link I just sent you, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see the companion app's features. There are free features and there are premium features. And people are complaining that the premium features make the game pay to win. In fact, there is quite a thread. It looks like 278 posts, 28-page thread on the game's official forums about this being potentially pay to win, and people are actually saying they're going to quit the game over this. What do you think?
Okay, first I want you to describe to me what this stuff is. Okay, so organize, retainer, and settle bank inventory. So you don't get that. What does that mean? Like what saddlebag inventory doubled? What is so? Is that like your storage on your mount? What is that?
It's basically extra storage you get from your chocobo. But yeah, I'll run you through it real quick.
Okay.
So basically, with the app, everyone can download it, and the main thing is you download that for free. You can actually talk to your friends in the game. Looks like you can talk to people in your guild and stuff for free. Just message people directly as well. It's an easy way to keep in touch with players while you're away from the computer, which I think is a kind of like a nice touch. We've seen like the League of Legends mobile app like let you message your friends with that. I think WoW has something like that too.
Yep.
You can move stuff around your inventory, organize stuff in your inventory. You can check the market board, which is the game's auction house, so you can just browse what's on there. You can buy one item in the auction house per day, because you get one free coupon nut per day, so it's a currency in the game in the app, and every one currency gives you one transaction. So every time you log in, once per day, you get you can do one transaction.
So it's like a remote auction house once a day.
Yeah, it's a remote auction house that you can only use once per day as a free user. As a premium user, you can use it twice per day.
Okay, that's not. I don't care about that. That's no big deal.
But you can actually use infinite times if you pay enough money. There's a premium currency you can buy called Moogle coins. The Moogle coins can be used in replace of the coupon nuts, which basically you can essentially use the market board infinite times per day with the mobile app if you're willing to pay money.
But you gotta pay for each one. Each transaction.
Yeah, you buy like 100. You probably buy them in batches.
Oh, okay.
So with the premium and the premium app, by the way, costs $5 a month, which is kind of weird. Who's gonna pay for? I mean, first of all, there is a controversy.
People will pay, but go on.
People. I personally don't think. I think anyone that pays $5 a month for this stuff it's overpriced. It's a ripoff. But I'm not like offended by the pay to win argument. You get more inventory space, and you can get you can buy an additional retainer as well. And really, the premium only gives you an extra. It doubles how much you use the market board. But anyone can buy additional coins if they want it. And the controversy lies in the fact that people are saying that being able to access the market board like more times than free users on the mobile app is pay to win. What do you think about that?
Okay, not pay to win. But okay, this whole system, right, is something. If I didn't know that Final Fantasy was a subscription game and I just read this, I would think Final Fantasy is a free to play game. They're nickel and diming you by charging you every single time you want to use like a remote auction house feature. Like, and the fact that you can pay $5 a month for a mobile companion app, like it just reeks of something that would be a feature in a free to play game. So the fact that it's a premium subscription game, and has this kind of stuff. And remember, this is the future. They're gonna add if they're adding this, they're gonna add more stuff like this. They're testing the waters. They're testing the waters.
The controversy is that they said that based on player feedback, they'll be adding more stuff you can buy with the Moogle coins. Obviously, they're gonna be pushing microtransactions in here. However, I will actually disagree with you because it's a subscription-based game, but I do think there is this entitlement mentality with a lot of people. They view that when they buy a game, when they subscribe to a game, they're entitled to everything on top of that. And here's why I kind of disagree with a lot of the. First of all, I think the pricing is a ripoff, and they will not get a penny out of me. Okay, this comes from somebody who's never going to spend a penny on this app.
Okay,
but the pricing is stupid. It's obscene, and I'm never going to spend money. But I'm not offended by it because think of it this way: as a free-to-play user, as somebody who subscribes to the game already, what is this app giving you? You are gaining access to something you didn't have before. The free features of the app that include one transaction per day, as well as being able to message your friends, and all the other stuff that come for free, are literally things you are gaining. You are gaining for nothing. This is you were paying previously before this announcement. You were paying for a subscription that gave you even less than what you have today. Because now you get an app and you can do some stuff on it. The fact that you can buy other features on that app, which I don't think are pay to win, it's still a win for you as a user. Like, would you rather just not have this app? It just seems like you'd be throwing away a feature.
No, yes, I'd rather not have it. Okay, here's why. The threat is not always what's in front of you. Okay, it's what's coming. So an avalanche starts with a single snowflake. All right, and if you see snow falling, like one flake lands on your nose, and then your friend goes crazy, you're like, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? It's just a snowflake. But he's looking up the mountain. Now imagine this app. You're not going to pay for it, right? But imagine it makes like $10 million for them. Okay, which it could. I think there's a lot of crazies out there. Now that will radically, dramatically, and permanently change the direction of Final Fantasy's development because they're going to be chasing that money, and then we're going to get a lot. They're going to add more stuff like this, and now eventually it's going to be an avalanche of basically it's going to be indistinguishable from like Bless or like BDO cash shops, where it's just going to be coming at you. You're going to be able to pay for the best weapons, and that's going to make you mad. You're going to pay for like upgrading your weapon, and then it can break, but if you pay, it doesn't break. Like all that's coming if they make money.
I don't like the slippery slope argument because you can literally apply that to everything and extend it to the extreme where that can happen. Now listen,
Okay.
There's actually something that a lot of people are missing in this discussion because a lot of people pointed to World of Warcraft's mobile app. I'm not sure if you ever used it. I remember I used it actually.
Really? I never used it.
It gave you access to the mobile to the remote auction house for free, right? Everyone could use it, like 200 transactions per day. It was only there for like so you can't abuse it, right?
Yeah.
But what's remarkable is actually they announced just this week that they're shutting down the mobile app. The mobile app's access to the auction house.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't monetize it and it cost them money to keep it up, right?
Yeah.
So now that feature's gone.
Yeah.
So what this tells me is, I imagine some people that were using the World of Warcraft mobile app actually really liked access to the auction house, right?
Yeah.
And they were probably willing to pay for it because if they didn't make any money for them, why was shutting it down? So it seems like to me that if they didn't add this feature, it just wouldn't. Like, either we get it with the monetizable coins, or we just don't get it at all. I think I'd rather have it than not have it.
I wouldn't. An auction house that's remote like that, it totally breaks immersion. The whole point of an auction house is a reason to go to the main town. Remember Ironforge? Remember the whole reason to go to town and to kind of hang out in the capital was because that's what the auction house was. The auction house was where you traded, not just in the auction house, but with other people, like spamming, want to buy, want to sell. It was a hub. It was a locus of activity. So if it's remote and paid, now all your whales and your biggest, most enthusiastic players are going to be just paying on their phone to access the auction from anywhere. That's going to take away activity from the town.
Okay, listen. The immersion argument you brought is actually a new one because I read through over 100 Reddit posts complaining about, oh my God, pay to win, I'm quitting. And I read at least 100 posts on the official forums about this. And the biggest complaint surrounding this are people bitching that they're going to have to lower their prices in the market board because other people will be lowering their prices faster and it will be undercutting other people. Like the price, so ultimately the result of this, I think, for all players, is going to be lower price on the market board because when you see somebody undercut you, you can undercut them faster, right? On the go, and people are worried that they're not going to make as much money from the market board, which I tell those people, boo hoo.
Yeah.
The market board prices are extremely high already, and 99% of players will benefit by having a lower price in the market board. And some people were complaining that there's already bots abusing the system anyway, probably buying cheap items, selling it for more. People are already scripting it anyway on the PC.
But they got to shift it in person though, at the auction house.
Yeah, but the people that are taking advantage of it already, the people that write bots for it, are already doing it on their PC like full time, 24/7 with a script anyway. Okay. And the people that play the game 24/7 are already taking advantage of this as well. If anything, this evens the playing field more for the average user.
Dude, I think you're bending over backwards to like defend this. Like, okay.
Well, first of all, I said the pricing is stupid. Then they will never get a penny out of me.
Not you, but
okay.
First of all, look, the fact that they're giving you one free a day, right? Basically, they want you to get addicted to that and use that instead of going to the auction.
How many transactions do you do on the market board a day? As someone that plays a lot of Final Fantasy 14, my average transaction is maybe like 2 a day,
okay,
or less. Sometimes you list something all at once, which you'll do on the PC anyway. When you're buying, it's not something you're doing all the time anyway.
Okay, but I don't get why you're so eager to throw that out for the in person or in town transaction. Like that was such a valuable part of the game for me. And I'm surprised no one else brought it up.
Nobody else brought it up because again, I read through countless pages of this stuff because I was really curious where people stood.
That to me is a big sign.
The biggest problem is that it's pay to win. But it seems to me that players are getting a feature. The free users are getting something they didn't have before. Actually, something useful, arguably not as useful as maybe as they wanted. But they're getting something
useful is not an argument for MMORPG. Part of the MMORPG is supposed to be it's inconvenient. That's what makes an MMORPG an MMORPG is inconvenient. You got to walk to the end of the town. You got to take the mount somewhere. If you could just teleport everywhere, and then you can buy bandit. You can just vent from anywhere, right? You can sell your trash from anywhere. You can auction house from anywhere for free. You can teleport. Like at some point, you don't have an MMORPG.
But that argument doesn't really apply because in Final Fantasy 14, the market boards are everywhere. Like every player housing zone has like 8 market boards in it. Every town's got like 4 market boards in it. Like most people just
the social parts. The social parts have it.
No. The housing districts are there's like 20 instances of each housing zone, and every instance of those has like 8 market boards in them. In fact, most of the time when I sell something, I just go to my house or my guild house where nobody else is. I walk to the market board right next to it.
Right, but you still have to be in like a social zone, not a combat area, like a dungeon or outside.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's my point. That's good.
But the immersion itself that you're arguing, I think, has long been lost with stuff like party finders.
It doesn't mean I have to like it. Another one, it's like a death by 1,000 cuts. I might already have 900 cuts, but I don't want the last one.
Sure, sure. But do you agree with the pay to win sentiment though, or
No, I said from the beginning. I don't care. It's not the pay to win part. It's the lack of. It's the loss of immersion and the creep of features that. By the way, even in free to play games, I'm normally against this the pay to win moniker because it's a feature, right? You know, it's an optional monetization thing. I'm just saying this sounds like a free to play feature being added. Like this is something I would expect from a free to play Korean game, not from a premium game that's billed itself as like a premium kind of game.
But look, if World of Warcraft couldn't make their mobile auction house like work, they did it as a convenience to their players, and their players clearly liked it, right? The problem was it wasn't worth the development cost for them to keep the mobile app connecting with the PC. Clearly, there's some kind of developer involved.
I'm glad they shut that down too. Thank you for telling me about it because I'm glad. I don't want to remove.
You're saying it for immersion, right?
Yeah.
If you take immersion out of the equation, I think that was a loss for players.
No, it was a gain for players because they gained immersion.
It was like I would personally rather have this than not have it. Look, the problem is if we go down the slippery slope where those Moogle coins can be used for other stuff that's actually changing the game.
Well, why wouldn't it?
Look, obviously,
by the way, this is changing the game. If I can access the auction house from everywhere, whereas in the past I had to be in a social zone, non-combat zone, that's a huge change.
But there are already websites you can look up. You'll be able to look up what's for sale on like every MMORPG auction house anyway. There's been that for like every game already. The immersion's already been broken by third-party websites.
You can't buy them though. You can.
Who cares? So if you want your immersion, don't use the app. You create your own immersion, right? You don't need the other people's. What is somebody else's immersion to you?
This is not like a game-shattering thing, but it's a negative on all counts, in my opinion.
All counts.
Yeah, but not a huge negative, but it's a negative on all counts. Like, there's nothing positive here, in my opinion.
So like, do you like not like the Discord mobile app? Do you have to be on your PC to use Discord? Is
Discord, guys, Discord's my favorite MMORPG. What's this week's raid? Huh? Are we gonna raid? No, what are you talking about?
It seems like a convenience feature to connect to your friends.
Yes, and you know how you die? By becoming too convenient. All right, everything gets too convenient. It's like a frog. All right, you're boiling in the water, or more inconvenience.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, but my only concern is if the Moogle coins bring us to something more extreme, where things do become more pay to win, and obviously that's always a possibility. But I think as is, I'm not particularly offended by this. And but the thing is, the discussion with this kind of stems back to people complaining that once you pay a sub, right, there should be no cash shop, there should be no other forms of monetization. Do you agree with that?
Okay, one more time, say it again.
The biggest. The place of disagreement for most people seems to be that I already pay a subscription. I already bought the game.
Yes. I
shouldn't be able to pay for anything else. Everything else should be free in game.
Well, remember, with that in mind, from what I saw, Final Fantasy has been selling cosmetics for many years, right?
But yeah.
Now, can you argue? Remember, I'm not talking about the degree because I said it was a small degree. But do you agree that this is at least a change in type? This is not a cosmetic difference. This is a gameplay altering change for money.
Yes.
Okay, that's a bad sign. Now, again, cosmetics have been selling for years, and I think that people paying subs, most of them realize that's not game altering, right? So they're okay with it. This is game altering. Again, to a small degree, they're kind of testing the waters, but this is a radically different in nature than previous monetization things.
But what about cosmetics? Do you think when they introduce cosmetics to a game, it's like if when World of Warcraft added their cash shop, right, to get mounts and like cosmetics?
Yeah.
Was that like
personally? No. My opinion, I'm against that. If in a subscription game, everything should be in that world. Personally, now again, but it's a different kind of breakage, I guess, than this is, which is altering gameplay.
But you have to realize too that the money they make from that helps subsidize the game, and they can like make more content as well on top of obviously profits.
I mean, why not just sell one-shot swords too? It's gonna develop the game.
It's a balancing act, obviously.
Well,
look,
exactly.
When I play like Overwatch, I know the fact that when other people spend money on cosmetics, Blizzard makes more money, they can make more content. Same thing for Final Fantasy 14. When other people are buying $12 emotes, I know the fact that by the way, the reality is for games like Final Fantasy 14. The reality is that these games don't make a lot of money. I think Square Enix made like $120 million all year with all their MMORPGs combined, whereas a single mobile game makes over $1 billion a year, successful mobile game. So the reality is these games don't make a lot of money, and the reality is these games could shut down if they don't bring in more money. The resources for these games will be cut off. So that also kind of makes me look at these games not from an idealistic view, from a practical view, where if other people can subsidize the game's development without making it pay to win, I'm all for it.
Oh, look, I am all for again, and that's why I said it's a compromise, and I agree. So that's why the cosmetic things, it's a compromise we've been dealing with for years now, right? Now, all I'm saying is this is a compromise of a new nature, and it will open a floodgate of a new nature. Okay, that's all. End of the day, maybe the best thing for them to do is ditch a subscription and go all in on stuff like this. Charge for cosmetics, charge for upgrades, charge to join a raid, to join a guild with more than like 20 people. Charge for that. Charge for housing. Here's another thing. Sharded Avatar made tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes on single houses, right? So how much money could Final Fantasy 14 made if housing was premium only from the start? Like a monthly fee plus upfront cost for the big houses. They would have made a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah,
sure.
So but see, that's what I'm saying. Once you open this, you're basically allowing all that.
Look, my problem is once they go further on that line, and that's a good reason to boycott and quit the game. And I think that's where players should take a stance. When something becomes like actually pay to win, because we both agreed this wasn't pay to win. Yeah. When something actually crosses that threshold, at that point, stop supporting the game.
It's too late, baby. It's too late.
But
the nature of the game
the
will
argument
change.
about subscription, but the argument about the subscription too. People kind of forget that when we played Ultima Online in 1997, 1998, EverQuest in 2001 it came out like earlier, but we played in like 2001. When we played these games, we paid $15 a month to play these games. These
10.
games still cost $15 a month.
It was 10.
What, really?
Yeah. But
are you sure?
Yes. Our first bills for Ultima Online and EverQuest were $10 a month.
What are EverQuest?
I think it was 12 eventually, and then I think WoW was the first one to do 15.
Fine. Let's say WoW was 15 in 2004.
Yeah.
In the last 14 years, you don't think just apply the average inflation rate to that, and we'd probably be like double that or close to double that.
I mean, that's a good.
The reality is those numbers have came down. Haven't moved at all. Okay. Where is the extra money coming from?
Maybe there's a good sign that we should. It's a good reason we should raise subscription costs to $20 a month.
Perhaps instead of saying how much we hate this change, which I think a lot of people in the Twitch chat kind of agree that this is not good. And I'm with you guys. I prefer to get all this shit for free as well, obviously, right? But the reality is, what are you willing to tolerate? Would you rather tolerate the Mog Station cosmetic items of Final Fantasy 14, the cash shop in World of Warcraft which sells cosmetics, and this companion app, or would you be willing to pay instead of $15 a month? Actually, I'm only paying like $13 or $12 a month for Final Fantasy. Or would you rather pay close to double that, your monthly subscription fees? I know my choice is obvious. I'd rather pay the lower subscription fee. And the extra cosmetic stuff, I think it's great for me. As someone who doesn't spend money on these games, the extra cosmetics, it just seems like a win for me.
I think most people come to terms with cosmetics. So imagine this. Instead of this companion app, imagine if Final Fantasy released a $40 skin. Like a special skin where you have like a glowing hat or something. That'd be better.
They have like $12 modes. Some like rare $12 modes.
Okay, whatever. A $40 one. That would be better than this, in my opinion.
But at least with this app, the free players get something as well. And I'm curious where people stand on the subscription issue, because
free players don't get something; they lose immersion. Let's frame it a little differently.
The immersion was lost when you add the queues anyway to the game. Okay, that's a whole different argument on how immersion is lost over the years with MMORPGs.
It doesn't mean. I mean, look, just because it lost a finger doesn't mean you got to cut them all off.
I accept that. Yes, there's some form of immersion lost.
You got Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm immersion on right-clicking the market board. That's not really a big deal for me. I think for most people, it's not a big deal for them either. Obviously, some people like you are clearly offended by this, but I think for the most part, that's a non-issue.
I don't know. I think it's a big issue.
Somebody said EverQuest in '99 was also $15 a month, but just like WoW, if you paid a full year, you paid $10 a month up front. So I think the subscription costs remained the same since like 1998.
Maybe I definitely remember paying $10 for Ultima Online though.
But that's the thing I want people to kind of hold on to. Look, obviously if they take this stuff to the extreme and they add more stuff, that's when we should raise our pitchforks, and that's when we should be outraged. I don't think what they have today is outrage worthy, and we have to keep in mind in the context of the compromise. And I don't want to be labeled an apologist for this shit, because look, I'm not going to give them a penny because I think the pricing is retarded, and I think they're charging way too much. If it was like one-time buy for $5, yeah, it's pretty cool, If it was maybe like extra $1 a month maximum, and you should be able to use it infinitely rather than trying to charge these tokens every time they want to use it. That's bullshit. The pricing is insane. But you have to put in the context of what the subscription fee was for these games for the last like 15 years, and it hasn't changed.
Again,
it's literally insane. $5 a month, and you get so little for it anyway. It just makes no sense to me.
Again, outrage maybe is not the right. If people are outraged about it, I mean, I'm not in that camp. I do think it's a negative. That's all. I don't know what to say. I think it's a negative all around. It's bad for immersion. It reeks of free-to-play Korean-style monetization. And I think it does pretend things to come.
But in the context of the inflation argument, like, what is the alternative? Let's say the alternative.
We just said it. Selling cosmetics.
But they're doing that as well.
Yeah. Wait, Fortnite can make.
I personally rather have this app than the cosmetics, because I think the end result of this app is going to be cheaper market board prices for 99% of players.
Oh, wait, who cares if market board prices being lower or higher? It's absolutely no effect on this, because either way it's in game. So it's like there's no. I view winner as a loser in that. I mean, it's not like as long as it's in game, I don't care if the market board prices are high or low. Like that's just an in-game dynamic of the economy.
It's an in-game dynamic that positively affects the vast majority of players.
Oh, so imagine it's a companion app. Okay, you pay $5 a month, and there's a list of every item in the game. You just check the ones you want, and then you push I want these, and then he gives them to you for free.
Okay, that would be pay to win.
Well, no, wouldn't that help more people than it hurts? A lot of players don't have the same equipment you have. Maybe they want it.
Yeah, but now you're crossing the threshold of completely pay to win.
No, my point, Omar, was just because it lowers prices for people in game. That's not a good or bad thing. It's just as long as it happens in game, it's good. If it happens out of game, because you're paying for this feature, it's bad. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Like the fact that it's lowering prices for more people, if they buy this mobile app, that's pay to win. Like, what are you talking about?
The biggest outrage that I've seen in the Final Fantasy 14 threads, and you can skim through it yourself. And I encourage everyone in Discord, in Twitch, if they're curious, is that people are just complaining that they can't sell their price stuff as much as possible as before. They can make less money.
That's the beauty of MMORPGs. It's good that people complain about that. That means they're invested in their in-game economy. That's good. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe they did me this happened in this game. I'm so mad. This guild attacked me. Yeah. Like, that's part of the fun of MMORPGs. Like, people arguing about these prices and stuff. I think you kind of lost touch of that part of it here.
You argue the immersion thing again, which look.
No.
I thought the one World of Warcraft, the companion, was great. You'd be able to use the auction house on the go whenever you want. I think it was a great feature that people like.
No,
it just wasn't profitable for Blizzard to keep it running. That's why they shut it down.
Oh, okay, no, I disagree with that. But that's separate than this argument.
Do you think they shut it down because they had this idea in their head? Oh, it was immersion breaking, so we got rid of it. Do you think that's what they designed?
I don't know what their thought process was. No, I don't know. But
you would have thought they would have thought the immersion before they released it.
I don't know what they're thinking, but I'm saying now about the prices of more.
Well, it's not what
prices being lower, okay, because of this out of game, pay to win, pay to use feature. Prices being lower is not like a win. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? If the price of leather goes from 10 to 1, who cares?
If it improves if it improves the experience of the average user while just making it more accessible, it's a win. Of course it's a win. The average player gets more enjoyment of the game. Simply by making the game more accessible on the go with a companion app, it seems like a win to me. What are you talking about?
Wait, what if you could just push a button and you just had the best raid gear? That also would make it more accessible too.
The only thing the app is doing is making the game more accessible on the go.
No, it's lower. You just said it's lowering prices.
You realize today. Forget your immersion is already broken. You know why? Every single person on Earth who has a smartphone can download TeamViewer and open Final Fantasy 14 on their desktop on their phone and access the market board 24/7 today. The immersion is already broken, so your argument there makes no sense.
No one's gonna do that though.
Anyone can do it.
And even if they do it, they're logging into Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Through their phone.
I don't care.
Immersion is broken.
I don't care how they're logging in. By the way, if Final Fantasy releases a mobile client, I'm all for that. God bless. I don't have a problem with that.
The hardcore players are already doing that, I bet. The hardcore players who really want to take advantage of the market board, who aren't writing scripts for it already have TeamViewer installed. But I've actually used TeamViewer on my phone to check something in Final Fantasy while away from my PC. And it works like a charm.
I don't understand this concept. Imagine they just made a mobile client that's cross-platform. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
my issue is not that you're playing the game with your phone. My issue is that you have to pay for this additional feature. More accessible. I think we're going in circles, guys. Here.
Look, I want to emphasize, they're not going to get a penny out of me. It's a ripoff. The pricing makes no sense. But I don't think this is where we should get outraged about. However, Square Enix should be kept in check if they try to push the boundary here, because they specifically said they're going to look at more ways to implement these cash-up currency, the Moogle coins. That's where we have to keep them in check over there. If they do anything bullshit, that's when you cancel your subscriptions. That's when you pull out the pitchforks and you pull out the bad publicity, and then they'll fold. Just like EA folded with the Battlefront 2 because people got outraged over it. That we have to save our outrage for when it actually matters. When they start making it pay to win, when it starts breaking the game. As someone who plays Final Fantasy 14, I don't view this at all as some. In fact, I still view it as a positive for me who play, because now I can do all this other bullshit I couldn't do before. I got a feature where I didn't have one before.
Do you know what this reminds me of? The meme with the cartoon dog and sitting in the house that's burning, and he goes, "This is fine." Like above you is like a $5 a month companion app. Everything is fine.
Look. Actually, which made a good comment in the chat. If you play on the PS4, you can redirect the game on your PlayStation Vita and play wherever you want anyway. So, arguably, PS4 players and Vita players have an advantage over PC players because they can access the market board whenever they want because they can play on their PS Vita. We can't. So this is only equalizing the gap. Except, think of it, instead of buying a PS Vita for $300, I download the app and pay $5 a month.
Or already
equalized.
How about they make a client for your phone so you can just play? How about that? And guess what? They charge you nothing for it because it's another platform they could just have the game on.
Well, that's one day. Hopefully, they will have it on the full cross-platform play and everything working. That'd be ideal. My only point here was it was really bizarre for me to read hundreds of posts, hundreds of comments on Reddit over how mad people were getting, and it really devolved back to the original argument of should skins and optional payments be allowed in games of subscription. That's where it ultimately boiled down to. That was like the ultimate crux where everyone disagreed. Where people brought up again, they're being greedy as fuck. I already pay $15 a month. I should get everything, which I don't buy that argument. That doesn't make any sense to me. Just because you pay the entry fee, and what you're getting for the entry fee is visible. The only time to be upset is maybe when you pay entry fee and then what you get changes. That's when you can be upset.
Well, it did change. It did change.
You are getting everything you had before this app was released, and more. No. You had everything plus more. No. Is why it bizarre.
Before you were getting all features, gameplay features. The only thing you were lacking were cosmetics. Now you're lacking cosmetics and certain gameplay features.
Now you have more gameplay features because you can use that for free once a day, and everything you got on the PC that you were paying for, you still have. That was not taken away from you. The moment they start changing the actual game and limiting content is when
somebody who's paying now has a gameplay advantage over you. That extra ability to buy stuff from Auction House will help them grind faster, will help them raid faster, will help them, etc. Right?
They don't. But no. Already, anyone can use TeamViewer and get it for free anyway. By the way, this makes it more convenient. If you want to pay for that convenience, they make it easier for you. You can already TeamViewer and do it for free.
Well, then do it.
Everyone can do it for free. By the way, anyone bitching about this, go download TeamViewer on your phone. Hook it up to your PC, and on the go, you can access Final Fantasy XIV on your desktop from your phone anytime for free, nothing. Boom.
Okay, so Canary said if you don't download the app, nothing changes for you. It does. Imagine you just got enough gold or gil to buy something in the auction house that you really liked. Now you got to run back to town, okay, to do it. And guess what? Some asshole on his phone while taking a shit just snatches it from
you. Taking a shit. That's the important part. He was taking a shit while he did it.
He snatches it right from you. When you're almost halfway back to town, he comes in, swoops by, goes, "Thank you. I got the Dooku coin. I got the Deku."
You could have done it too, by the way. Every day you can use it once for free already. So you could have done it too. On your phone, as soon as you get enough money, you can use your phone.
There are two things you want in it. There are two things you want in an auction house, okay? Now you're running in, you got one.
There are two things. You got one. You're gonna get this one.
So there is.
The best part, he was doing it while taking a shit, boys. He was doing it while taking a shit. All right, well, let's take it away from this content.
Yeah.
It's still an interesting conversation going on, like actively on Reddit and the Final Fantasy XIV forums. If you're interested in where people stand, it's worth reading. Look, and I personally I don't want to be lumped in as an apologist for pay to win or anything like that. I think the pricing is bullshit. They will never get a penny out of me. But this is not where I bring the pitchforks. I'm saving the pitchforks for later, and we might need them later. That's why I don't want to use them right now. But with the live letter came other news for the game as well. Worth talking about at least a little bit. They're adding a new 24-man raid. They're adding a new trial to the game with patch 4.3, which is coming out soon. Most importantly, though, actually in that same post, they're adding a new ultimate difficult dungeon, which is actually pretty hyped to watch for. Because I know as soon as that launches, people will be streaming it. And it's gonna be mega fun to watch the progress for all the big raiders. And I actually had a chance to at least try Ultimate Coil for the first time this last week. That's the current hardest dungeon in the game. And actually, when I first got in, it was actually pretty remarkable how different the pacing was. Full disclosure, I didn't get very far. I only did for like an hour or so. I got the enrage on Twitania, which was pretty easy actually. But the pacing was surprising because how fast the mechanics come at you in relation to the other dungeons I've seen in the game are just it's so much faster. In fact, if you take your eyes off the screen, like the cast bar, for even like 1.5 seconds, you could potentially miss a one-shot mechanic. You have to be on your toes while doing that fight. And it starts really easy, obviously. And I only got to the range of the really easy part, and it gets much, much harder later on. But it was really fun because the only reason I stopped doing it was hard to get a party, and then a few people left, and it was like midnight, and then I couldn't get another party to do it. But it was super fun. And actually looking forward to trying again with a couple friends. but the pacing is so different compared to regular raids in the game.
So what is this deep dungeon? 100 floor heaven or high? Is it another 100-story like instance?
It's another dungeon, kind of like the Palace of the Dead. It's gonna have its own like it's gonna be another 100-floor dungeon. It looks like it's gonna have its own leveling system, similar to the way Palace of the Dead did.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So there'll be probably their own leaderboards for that as well. So maybe somebody will try soloing that by themselves to see if they get the floor 100 by themselves solo or not. Should be fun. But there's a lot coming to the game. You know, they're expanding on the Eureka area, the Final Fantasy 11 inspired zone with its own leveling system as well. And again, this is what I like about Final Fantasy 14. This is what I like about MMORPGs in general. There is stuff outside the core gameplay loop. Now you can do this side dungeon thing, which is its own leveling system in both Eureka and the new Deep Dungeon. You can do all these new, you can just do collect all the cosmetics in the Beast Tribe quest. It just all the extra stuff on top of the core gameplay. I think is great, and I think Final Fantasy 14 does a pretty good job with semi-regular updates for these.
All right. Well, let's move on to Final Fantasy. We were on this topic for a while. So, already, you put up a news that I was interested in. I haven't seen this till today. We got some numbers from MOBA numbers.
Good old MOBA numbers.
So let's see. Let's walk through this. Okay, so Dota 2 player base is shrinking with 10.6 million monthly players, HOTS at 6.5 million, Smite 2 million, and League of Legends at about 100 million. A couple of surprises here. One, I called it with HOTS, baby. HOTS is big. HOTS is bigger than people think.
I had no idea.
HOTS is big.
That came as a shock to me.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
I think, okay, bold prediction here, boys. Ready? HOTS will be the last man standing in MOBA. Like 10 years from now, when like League is dead, Dota 2's dead, HOTS will still be there.
Come on.
I'm calling. That's that prediction I'm making.
I'm calling bullshit any prediction. I think League will be there. I think League will be around longer than Here's the Storm. I had no idea HOTS was like, was like more than like 70% the size of Dota 2.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's remarkable. But also how far ahead League is compared to everyone else. Yeah. So if you add up Dota 2, League, and if you add Dota 2, Smite, and HOTS, you have like less than 20 million. And League is still 5 times bigger than all those combined.
Yep. I already knew that Dota 2 was dying. As someone who was hugely into Dota since Dota 1 days, for me, I think the 7.0 update, if you see this chart here, it really marked the downfall because they radically changed the game too much. Okay, a lot of Dota 2 players are
too much at once too, which is kind of weird.
Too much at once.
Those changes should come more incrementally.
Yeah, I agree. And unlike League, see, League always does these videos where they talk about their design decisions, right? They explain to you what they're doing. Every patch for Dota just comes out of the blue, and there's no time. It's not like once a week or once a month. Now they're doing it more like regularly, but in the past, these big updates will just drop randomly. Like sometimes they're like, okay, here, have this. So this 7.0 one, like it added I think this is the one that added those the talent trees. The map was radically different. I don't know. The pacing of the game just changed too much. It was just too much new stuff. No bueno. I don't like it.
Yeah, it was too much all at once. And if you look at the Steam charts numbers, you'll see the month-to-month changes, year-to-year changes. Hopefully, I mean, I still love watching Dota 2. I've watched the tournament recently. Every time it comes on Twitch and I catch it, I try watching Dota 2 pro games because I think they're way more fun to watch than League or HOTS. I try watching HOTS games too, but I think Dota 2 is the most exciting of the MOBAs to actually watch. So I hope he doesn't die. I hope they can change things around, but I do think their design philosophy is to change a bit and be a little more user friendly. I feel like the Dota 2 community is a bit more elitist than other groups. Like what Ice Frog says is law. Stuff like some really weird, bizarre stuff. Like if you just try to explain somebody new to like MOBAs how like pulling works in jungles and stacking jungle, it's such a dumb mechanic and stupid and it makes no sense. But hardcore Dota players will defend it till their deathband about how it's actually a genius feature and they should never remove it or change it. It's
so many of those archaic features in Dota 2 were holdovers from just bugs or lack of customization available in the Warcraft 3 engine, right? So these were not design decisions. They were just things that you couldn't get around because of Warcraft 3 engine. So when they went
to change it for all these years, so I ain't buying it.
No, I agree with you. I think the fact that people are defending people are defending it as a kind of smart decision, right? But it wasn't. It was just a bug from like the fact that Warcraft 3 was limited. So they should change it now. I agree. 7-O-Matic, thank you for the sub. $990 left to go.
Okay. We're getting there, boys. We're getting there.
And there's another one you always talk about, the bottle. If you teleport back to lane, your bot and you drink your bottle, or or you pick up someone else's bottle that's on the floor in lane, it'll fill because since your character just came from the fountain, the game still thinks you're at the fountain. Now this was a holdover from the tick rate of Warcraft 3. It's not a feature, okay? It should not be in the game today, but it is, and you have people defending it, which is stupid.
Yeah, bro, this guy just teleported my lane. Here, quickly, take my bottle so it magically fills up and then give it back to me. Makes no sense. I hate it. And it just, I love Dota 2 as a game. They do so much right, but it's frustrating. And the stubbornness of, I guess, the developers and the community not to change things is, I think, kind of walling it off to new players. Because I think if they didn't have those rigid design aspects, more people would play the game. I think it's an amazing game.
And look, I don't think anyone actually cares about the bottle thing itself. Maybe Omar does, but no one else. The philosophy that reveals, right? Yeah. There are 10,000 aspects of the game that are molded by that same philosophy, which makes it impossible for a new player to get. I would never recommend Dota to a new player because they have to basically learn how Warcraft 3 worked back like 15 years ago because the stupid stuff they did like that. So the padding is awful. It's always been awful. Like if you just right click at the edge of the map, your guy just goes in like dumbass directions. There's so many dumb things about the game that they just won't fix because they don't think it's a problem. They think it's a feature. It's good.
Don't even get me started about creep pulling and stacking. It's such a dumb mechanic where it doesn't really introduce anything fun or interesting to the game. It's just this tedious mechanic the support has to do to make sure all the stuff is stacked in the jungle. It's so dumb. It's But yeah, that's interesting. Dota 2 numbers and MOBA numbers came out.
HOTS, guys, HOTS. I'm calling it. HOTS will pass Dota 2. Not this year,
you heard it here first,
next year.
Boys.
Next
heard
year.
It here first.
Next year. 2020. I'll give myself more room.
Well, somebody else brought up a good point in the chat about immersion. Kind of goes back to the topic of immersion. About how the internet and guides and videos have really changed the face of immersion in MMORPGs. There is definitely a certain magic we've lost with just how easily accessible guides are and maps and like how-tos online. There was a sense of wonder in exploring EverQuest, Ultima Online, going to places in the world that we thought no one else has discovered. But now basically every aspect of every game is like very quickly and thoroughly explored, and there are videos on YouTube on how to do everything in so many games so quickly, which kind of hurts the sense of wonder in these games. The guides especially make fights infinitely easier, and I feel like it's impossible to get that immersion back again with stuff like YouTube out there and all the guides, which is kind of sad because I think that was definitely one of the magical feelings of video games, I think, and more RPGs in general.
I think it's not impossible to get it back. It's just very hard. And I can think of a few ways we could get it back. Perhaps
How
things,
so?
What's the term? The dynamically created zones. So if AI or whatever gets fancy enough, and you go to a new area, it will just create the area fresh for the first time. So at least that day, and then that day nobody can read a guide about it, right? Because someone has to write the guide.
If boss fights and like world bosses could be created in that fashion, that would be amazing.
Yeah, imagine like a raid boss. Just
memorized fights really are kind of lame.
What is the term? There's a term for this. It's not dynamically created, is it?
Procedure generated.
Procedurally, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, procedure generated zones, and you need enemies that way too, though.
Yeah, quests. Boss fights, everything like a raid boss, ads.
Can you imagine a procedure generated quest? Fetch milk 3, pig 17 in corners 3. It's a mesh of all these words. AI technology isn't quite there yet, but it'd be great if we could.
If you guys have seen that movie Annihilation, it's like basically like random evolution creating monsters or whatever. So imagine you go to this zone that's like just plagued, and by the time you get to the center where the raid boss is, it basically is a list of 1,000 things it can pull from, but you don't know what's going to pull from. It could be like a meteor move that does a meteor shower. Maybe it's like an alligator head one time. The next time it's like a mammoth tusk attack or whatever. Like I could see how it's possible. Again, we're like 20 years off probably, but
I think that would bring back a lot of the magic. Because I remember we played EverQuest and the game had no map built in. There was literally no map built into the game, and I'm sure there was like third-party maps you could use, but with PCs the way they were back in like 2001, it just wasn't really easy to get like a third-party program to use it. So like oftentimes like I'm pretty sure we've drawn like a map of West Corona on a piece of printer paper while we were playing, just so like if we ever got lost. We put like landmarks in certain places. Like we would actually make our own maps, and that really created this weird immersion that today would never happen. Just having that map feature in a game means that's a part of the process you never even think about. And arguably, you can say it's mega convenient, but there was something magical about that being lost, being actually lost because the game had no map, having no idea where you are, having a true sense of danger and terror that it's nighttime in West Corona, and at nighttime high-level werewolves come out and they hunt down new players and they kill you. And dying is actually a huge setback because you lose like hours worth of experience. You need to run back to your body with no gear, and you might die again on the way there. So that whole dynamic is essentially lost forever until we get AI, like you said, which hopefully would be really cool if they do.
We got a $10 donation, and we inspired someone to play mobile MMOs. I don't know if that's a plus or a negative, but
out of curiosity, what mobile game did he end up playing?
The image went too fast. I caught it the last second.
Appreciate the donation.
Yeah.
Which you'll love.
What do we got?
Yeah, but you got Dauntless coming out May 24th.
Oh,
do you think that's a chance?
Let's talk about that. That's a good one. I think it is gonna be to beat what's it called to market on PC. Monster Hunter World.
Monster Hunter World, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it will beat that.
They did that intentionally. They had to come out before Monster Hunter World, I think.
Mm-hmm. We played it. It's free. It's gonna be free, so it's gonna be worth a shot. But now here's the question: is it gonna be just like a practice for Monster Hunter World, or will people stick with it?
I think people will play until Monster Hunter World comes out, and then they'll jump right to that.
I don't know. I think a lot of console players will, but I think a lot of PC only players will prefer Dauntless because I feel like the Monster Hunter World it's kind of like Final Fantasy where it's designed with console in mind first. Mm-hmm. So a lot of for example, I know the multiplayer is kind of wonky in Monster Hunter World, online multiplayer especially. It's like it's something with cutscenes. So you already watched the cutscenes.
Yes, the way the quests work to be synced together. Yes, it's definitely very wonky from what my friends have told me as well.
Yeah. So I think for that reason, there will be a smaller audience that will prefer Dauntless. So that's my only hope there.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, I don't want to like sell Dauntless short because I do think what they're doing is incredible because I talk a lot about unique and different kinds of games. And while Dauntless is very much Monster Hunter inspired, there's really been no other free-to-play game like Monster Hunter. I can't think of another free-to-play game on PC that's Monster Hunter-esque. Sure, it may not be original in its core, but it's bringing a unique free-to-play experience. And for that reason alone, like the core combat is fun. Taking down those monsters in the game are really fun. And then when we both played because we got founders packs for the game and we played it, I like the combat, and taking down those bosses was mega fun. The problem with the gameplay loop was there were so few bosses, and we'd essentially do the same boss over and over and over again to farm the resource, the materials he dropped, to craft better gear, so we can fight the next boss over and over and over again. Because the first few times you fight them, it's really cool, actually.
But that's Monster Hunter.
It's a skill-based battle.
It's the same thing in Monster Hunter, though.
But there's so few. I remember there were so few bosses.
Oh.
And that was one of the problems. Just after you play the game for like 4 or 5 hours, you've had your fill. You've gotten the full feel. Whereas I think Monster Hunter World will give you more.
We'll see. I think Monster Hunter World does look better from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But
the game was fun, and I recommend give it a try on the PC. It's to be free to play, and there's again no other free to play game quite like it.
Indeed.
They said that over 700,000 players signed up for open beta, which is definitely a good number. I'm curious to see how many people will stick around, and then we'll learn then. So May 24th is the open beta date, and we'll see. Hopefully the game goes on Steam, and we'll see how many people are online at once. I just love the fact that we can Steam shares all the data publicly, which is pretty great.
Speaking of Steam data sharing, I got a good story. Mm-hmm. Sad story, actually. Sad story. So Steamspy may be forced to shut down. Well, I think it is shutting down now because there was a change in Steam's default privacy. So until now, basically your game library, if you guys noticed, your Steam game library was public. Anybody who knows your account name can go to like your page on Steam and click your library and they see all your games that you own. Not only that, but they can see how many hours you've played each game, right? Now, you could optionally go into your settings and make it private, okay? But the default was public. And this allowed a site like Steamspy, which has huge information on which games are played the most by hour, which games are owned the most, how much people paid for games. It was all available public for everyone. That's changing. Steam now by default is going to hide your Steam library and the hours played for your games. Now you will still have the option to make it public, but that flipping of the which one is default means like 90% of players will just never care. Because I personally never knew these were even options. Like I didn't know I could hide my Steam library. I never thought about it, So I think the same thing will happen. Mine will be private now, and I'm not going to go out of my way to make it public. I didn't care when it was public, so I don't know why they did this. They say that people were complaining. Like Steam says people were complaining to them that they wanted these kind of privacy settings, which doesn't make sense because it was always you could just optionally.
You already had it. It was just default.
So it doesn't. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's kind of sad though. It's kind of sad.
I actually kind of like the default option being public because I remember I looked at my Steam library, like how many hours I play, and there's like estimates how much your Steam library is worth, stuff like that. I always thought it was kind of cool. And it wasn't like if it didn't work the first time I entered in, like it requires you to enable some setting. I wasn't gonna do that shit. All right, I'm going the lazy route. I'm not gonna mess with that stuff. I think it's unfortunate that it's well within their rights to do that, and there's definitely a privacy issue there. But I don't know. Who does it really matter? If you want to hide how long you've played a Honey Pop on Steam, you have the option of doing so.
Yeah. I think there should be the option to hide your stuff, or maybe even like one of those what do they call it? Privacy reviews that come up once in a while. Like I know when I log into Google sometimes or Facebook, it's like okay, go through your privacy settings, and make sure you're okay with everything.
That makes sense.
I think they were just. I think they got scared by this Facebook like nonsense happening recently.
Yeah, but privacy and whatnot.
Yeah,
Facebook being skewered. The one good thing about Facebook being skewered and Mark Zuckerberg doing the congressional testimony is all the memes coming about Zuckerberg being a robot. Look, if anyone is a robot, it's Mark Zuckerberg. All right, those memes have convinced me. All right.
Why is he a robot? Why is he a robot?
Have you not seen all the ridiculous images of him like human smile, human thirsty, drink water, and these sliders moving up? They've been all over the internet for the last week.
I feel like he's getting skewered too much. I think there's a lot of jelly going on.
I feel like I don't know enough about it.
People just jelly.
The Zuck.
Jelly
of the Zuck.
Jelly of the Zuck. Exactly.
Well, in smaller news, there was a Black Desert Online costume contest. Now, these aren't really big deals, but this goes back to my previous conversation about how important it is for the community to be engaged. So basically, players submitted outfits and whatnot, and this was the winning one. If you're curious, let me just drop the link for you. This process of creating outfits, it has to be built into the game, and I think that's one of the things Steam did really well with the Steam Marketplace and players designing like their own stuff for Dota 2, for Team Fortress 2. And it's just a really cool option, and they sell it for real money, which is kind of weird, designing something and selling for real money, which is cool in a way, but also weird. The cool thing about MapleStory 2 was that you can sell it for in-game currency, it's not just a purely cash shop thing, and for the longest time, you had this feature in Second Life, but it was also kind of always sold for real life money. So I think one of the first few times we're going to see player created content being sold for in-game money, and this Jungle Terror outfit is going to be, looks like it's probably going to be sold for cash shop stuff, I guess.
It looks cool, and I'm kind of surprised that the winner wasn't like a skimpy female outfit.
I bet you they specifically chose a non-skimpy female, because real talk, we all want skimpy girls in our costumes, right? 100%. I think they purposely went out of their way to choose something that's not a skimpy girl.
I think so too. I remember in Black Desert, the first thing I did is open the cash shop, and where you can see
look at the bathing suits, look at the hat outfits,
the lingerie. Yeah, I just go through.
I bought some lingerie for my character in Black Desert. So it's kind of weird. We have to talk about Bully Hunters real quick before we end the show as well.
Okay,
that was like the most ridiculous thing I've seen all year. It was. Do you want to give us a quick recap of that?
Okay, so the recap is, and this is the story.
Whoa, the website's gone.
Oh, the whole thing shut down. It's all dead. It was embarrassing. It's all dead.
It was embarrassing. All right, go ahead.
So basically, a PR or marketing group thought they would do some kind of cool promotion for Steel Series, right? Now, and it was very clear that these guys never played games, because their idea, this was idea from the PR company, not any particular streamer or gamer. Okay, they're gonna have a feature where if you're getting bullied or harassed in the game, you can go to the site BullyHunters.com, and then you can enlist the help of a bully hunter, and they will join your game and kill. Like, they're really good players, like they're pro players, and they're gonna go into your game and kill the guy who's harassing you and then leave. Now, this can only work, or you can only think this could work if you're not a non-gamer, because so many games you can't just join in the middle of a match, right? If the teams are full, there's so many. What if you join and one, the side you're on is full, but the other, the enemy side is empty. Then the bully hunter's on the wrong side, right? You can't TK, or else you're gonna get banned. So there are just so many logistical problems with this idea that it just doesn't work in today's games. So anyway, it blew up. It was a joke. Everyone made fun of it.
No, you have to watch the clip, and it's a 6-second clip, and it's the idea of people being bullied in games. Like, it's so bizarre. Like this in the clip in the background, this girl is playing Counter-Strike Go, and then all of a sudden, some man comes into the voice chat and says, "Girl, I'm gonna rape you. I'm gonna rape you and fuck you up." And then she calls in the bully hunter, who comes in there and frags him to stop him from bullying him, which in reality would never happen. And if it happened, he'd just be bullying the bully hunter as well. It made no sense.
I'm gonna see if you have the right clip.
This is actually hilarious. If nobody else saw it, just drop the clip in here.
Okay, I think I found it. No? All right, I'll click your clip.
Lights have come down, and that is a signal for a bully hunt. Now let's see exactly how a bully
it's so
hunt
obviously
works.
bullshit. It was such a bad idea.
Let's listen. Let's listen.
Pink Light 23, who has been harassed in game. That's her, but let's cut to her feed. So we can see right now that we're in Pink Light 23's game. She's doing what she loves, playing CS:GO.
You want to get raped, bitch? I know where you live. I can't handle how big her tits are. You want me to rape you?
Now, that's exactly the toxic behavior we're fighting against here. Now, let's see how she used our global tool to call a bully hunter. Play that, please. So Pink Light 23 is in game. What she's going to do is call a bully hunter with our tool. She's doing it right now. She just logged onto our site and logged in with her Steam account and is now locating a bully hunter. Now, let's see which bully hunter was called.
Okay, there's so much wrong with this. First of all, and maybe it's my mind. I don't know why this stood up the most to me. Do you want to get raped, bitch? Now, if you want to get raped, guys,
the one with the
hint, it's not rape, right? So no rapist will ask you if you want to get raped, because if you say yes, it's not an option. Like, it's not a choice to get raped. Like, I don't understand. They couldn't even harass properly. Like, I don't.
Like, if you wanted to simulate like online bullying, it's not hard to do. You didn't have to stage it. You know, you really could. You just play a game as a girl and record for 2 hours. You'll actually find some instances of actual bullying. But no, they had to pay this guy who read this really cringe-worthy line. You want to get raped, bitch? Like, I can't handle how big your titties are or something. Is what he said. Like, nobody says that. Nobody speaks like that. It just it's such an unbelievably cringe. Like, whoever thought this was a good idea really ought to lose their job, because it's so obviously dumb. And it was guaranteed to blow up as a ridiculous, stupid thing, and it did.
You know what's funny though? I kind of feel bad. Okay, so obviously, right? Whoever came up with this, right, doesn't play games at all. Like, not even like a little.
I know.
Because even someone who's like a female gamer, casual, who plays counter would know this. You can't do this in the game, right? So the girl behind this, the girl who was a presenter, I should say, she was a consultant. That she was a presenter. She didn't write it. Okay, she didn't come up with the idea. She got the hate for this because she's the public face of it, right? Like, you see her presenting. I kind of feel bad for her for that. What was her name? Zombie Unicorn?
A zombie unicorn or something.
She looks like a total annoying SJW, like face and like hair and everything about her, right? But she did not deserve this hate that she got for this, because it wasn't her script. You know, like anyway, yeah, she looks annoying, right? But she did not deserve like all the hate she got. So, as someone who defends toxicity, okay, I don't recommend harassment on someone on their Instagram or their Twitter or whatever. Okay, you can just make fun of them with your group of friends, right, and then move on. That's all you got to do.
There was a clip of one of the bully hunters as well on I saw, and one of the bully hunters was calling people faggots. You know, she was supposed to be the bully hunter, and she calls everybody faggots.
Yeah, which
I love it.
Which again, everyone does that. It's part of the internet. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
So I actually listened to her 1 hour and 50-minute apology, right? And the only part of it, I actually came off thinking she's an okay person. But the one part of her apology I didn't like is the fact that she was apologizing. Like,
wow.
For doesn't make sense, but for her previous toxicity, she's like, I'm sorry, you know, a couple years ago I was getting harassed, so like I lashed out and I called this guy like a faggot or whatever. Don't apologize for that. Like, if Trump has taught me anything, is you don't apologize. Okay, you
never apologize. Yeah. Apologizing is a form of admitting you were wrong, and you never do that on this
exactly. Here's the thing: people who actually care about you don't need an apology, like a verbal one, and people who don't like you will just use it against you. The fact that you apologize. So never apologize. That's a hint here. Okay, stand by what you did. Don't apologize.
So what you're trying to say is you stand firmly by this image.
Let me see what image. Oh yes, I'm gonna put this on. This is good.
I just think it was a very ill-conceived, idea And there are conspiracy theories that SteelSeries was behind it, or some of the other, other gaming.
SteelSeries is the ones who contacted both her and the PR studio, okay, to make an event. Now,
wait, who was the other guys? So they're saying the other competing, maybe Logitech or something was behind it to
No, I don't think it was some
conspiracy
psyops.
time, boys.
No, it was not psyops.
Some serious psyops going, but this created a lot of negative feedback because associating, if a brand I liked actually willingly if for SteelSeries, for example, right? They must have seen the product or the idea before they sponsored it, right? They must have seen something.
They claim they didn't. They claim they just sponsored an anti-bullying campaign, okay? And then they had no creative control or anything over it.
But why would you sponsor them without knowing what the fuck you're sponsoring?
Because they're dumb.
Okay, whatever. The point is, if the company I like is dumb enough to support these people, that just tells me that they're not in touch with their audience. SteelSeries is not in touch with their core customers. If they thought that this kind of campaign was something that would have reflected well on their brand, it just shows you that they're dumb on that.
I think the SteelSeries marketing people are not as hands-on as they should be. So imagine you and me. We made a company called esports marketing, okay? And we call SteelSeries. Hey, we want to do a promotion with SteelSeries products. Give us some free shit. And they say, okay, sure, here you go.
So they didn't ask what it's for.
No, now they will because they got burned. But I think that was just they had a budget. They had to burn it, and they're like, whatever. Here, take some money. Anyway, we are over our time limit. There's a lot more fun on the internet about this bully thing. Just go on Google or YouTube and search Bully Hunters, and there's a lot of retrospectives and a lot of commentary on it. It's fun stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about it in the post game. But thank you for watching. And
thanks for watching us live, guys.
On Friday.
We'll see you on Friday. Final Fantasy 11 on Friday, Altai. It's happening.